We begin with the growing concern among Democrats. Howard Fineman's an MSNBC political analyst and a Huffington Post media group editorial director, and Susan Page is the Washington bureau chief for USA Today and writes many of their front page stories. I read them often, especially in hotel rooms, where they always seem to appear magically at my door. Anyway, let's take a look at these numbers. They're not good for the president or the Democrats. The majority now, 51% of the Americans, do not believe the Obama jobs bill will lower the unemployment rate, according to a new Bloomberg number. And I believe that number. Let me ask the group here. Howard, is that number simply a reflection of the fact that you ask any question about the president's economics and they say no?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, because elsewhere in that poll and some other polls, voters were asked about their views of the different pieces of the bill itself. You know, the ideas within the bill. They're more favorable toward the ideas in the bill than they are to the bill when it's described as Barack Obama's bill.
They don't like the brand name.
They don't like the brand name, which right now is a reversal of where things were a year ago, and very bad news.
That is
bad news for the president.
That means what he's touching isn't working.
That's true. And he's having trouble breaking through, getting people to believe what he says or even to listen to what he says. You know, that big speech to a joint session of Congress did not budge his job approval number.
It's funny because
draft.
30 million people watched it, too.
That's right.
They did listen.
People watched it. He's been out since then doing exactly what political advisors said he needed to do, get outside of Washington, press the same message over and over again. It's not having an effect on the approval that he has.
Well, let's see. The CNN Opinion Research poll asked Americans if they were angry about how things are going in America. 72% said yes, angry is the word. Boy, you hear it and feel it. 71% say they're scared. Boy, you get scared, then you get angry about how things are going. You know, I always feel one of the reason people don't like criminals, they make them scared.
Well, and this is, I think, the worst news of all for President Obama, to be running for re-election in a landscape where Americans overwhelmingly say we're going in the wrong direction. I've lost hope on the economy. I'm fearful of what's going to happen next. That makes it very hard for an incumbent president to make his case.
Well, you know, what's
people don't like being scared because it makes them angry. Well, you're making them scared.
Yeah, what's interesting to me about this is just the other day I was interviewing a Democrat who's doing polling and focus groups for the White House and the Democratic National Committee. This was a focus group down in Richmond. And this guy was telling me, you know what? People aren't angry. They wish the president would perform better, but they're not angry. And he kept underlining that they're not angry. Now, maybe that was wishful thinking, because all the poll numbers we're seeing right now is that anger is the word. And that is problematic. The other thing that's happened, Chris, you know, the president got pretty good reviews from the media and the commentariat for that speech the other night. He had the best possible effort that he could make that was pretty much given good notices, and the Republicans kept their mouths shut about it. That was his last best opportunity, it seems, to make the case, and it didn't seem to work. The New York Times on Saturday had a piece basically saying that the bill wouldn't produce any new jobs. Even people like Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart, who can be funny but not cutting or dismissive, I found if you look at them in the last few days, they were very dismissive about the job speech, which I thought was interesting.
Susan, do you think this resonates with the fate that President Carter suffered in the summer of '79 when he tried to talk about issues he cared about and people stopped listening?
It could be. Now, Obama's rumors in a better place than Carter was. Carter was at 30% approval rating in the Gallup poll at this point. Obama's in the low 40s. But this is the point when the presidents who win re-election begin to really build their numbers. This is when Reagan was coming up, when Clinton was coming up. Soon they'd be over 50% in pretty good economies. President Obama faces a situation where he needs to improve his numbers, even though the economy's numbers are, we know, not going to get very much better by Election Day. This is about the economy he is likely to have on Election Day.
That's the thing that's doing it, Chris. I mean, it's not about the poll numbers. It's about the reality numbers. It's about the unemployment number. It's about the median household income number. It's about the poverty rate number that you were just talking about. It's even the College Board came out yesterday to say that the reading scores were lower than they've ever been.
What do you make of that?
So,
exactly. I mean, everybody here is a parent or is a student watching is trying to figure out why there's a connection.
Why there's a connection?
Why would SAT reading scores go down? Why would your oral scores, your verbal scores go down? I'm curious if there is a connection.
Well, certainly if people are working harder, if families are working harder, if they don't have jobs, if the parents are worried and don't have time to devote to the education of their children or helping them with homework, who knows? My point is that all the reality check numbers.
Are you wincing?
No.
I am, because I'm not sure it's fair to blame.
No, I'm not. I'm not blaming Barack Obama
for the reading numbers.
No,
down.
I'm not. That's not what I'm doing.
But I'm wondering if there is a weird connection, because I'm trying to figure it out, because you're onto something. We're all parents. We're empty nesters now, but I think you
semi-empty.
Well, we're empty now, and I tell you, my wife Kathy is a queen about so many things. She'll be working till midnight with the kids, checking over their essays, and every teacher now gives an essay question every night, it seems, right? And they're doing it over and over, and that effort is really a big part of being a parent.
I'm not blaming Barack Obama. It was the tide of antagonism and worry about the economy that brought him into power.
Yeah.
This is a big generation-long transition that's happening here. But what I'm saying is, when all the numbers about the sort of health of our society seem to be going in the wrong direction,
I'm with you. There's something
including that,
bad karma.
it's hard for him to make the sale.
Politico reports today on the mood among Democrats, quote, on a high-level campaign conference call Tuesday afternoon, that's yesterday, Democratic donors and strategists commiserated over their disappointment in the president. A source on the call described the mood as awful. People feel betrayed, disappointed, furious, disgusted, hopeless. They're all sources. Susan, you're chuckling, but it's not chuckle-worthy in the White House.
Although, that's true, and Democrats are discouraged, but President Obama is not going to face a primary challenge the way Jimmy Carter did. And that is
why not?
He's not going to do it because he's still strong enough with the base of the party, and because there's not a strong candidate willing to challenge him.
Okay, let's talk about those two special elections yesterday. Now, first of all, the one in Arizona, in Nevada, has never voted Democrat, apparently, since it was a CD and when the state was created back in 1864. We're going to drop that one. When New York City, even whatever part of the boroughs, goes Republican, you got trouble. A lot of ethnic factors there. Orthodox Jewish voters, Catholic voters very upset, and urban ethnic Catholic voters very upset about same-sex. Susan, how much of that was and by the way, even the president at his high level in 2008 November only got 55% there. So it's not some lefty district.
And Barack Obama's approval rating there is about 10 points below where it is nationally. So while this has been historically a Democratic,
it's in the 30s.
Where this has been historically a Democratic district, it's been trending more Republican. And as you say, a combination of factors. The vote on same-sex marriage, the Democrat had voted for it in the state legislature.
Somebody called it a perfect storm, a bad storm.
It's a concern by some Jews about treatment of Israel.
Well, a lot of it is about settlements. It's a very conservative group of people there. Somebody said it's a third of a third. Within the Jewish community there, it's very conservative, conservative.
It's a third of a third of a third, but it was enough in a low turnout election to matter. And what they're looking at is the vote coming up in the United Nations for the Palestinian state and all that kind of stuff.
It's a great time to push the button. As I like to say, bang on the pipes if you want hot water.
And frankly, the Obama administration is now trying to turn that around in a very public effort that's probably just going to advertise their own weakness in their
because they can't stop the vote.
They can't
General
stop
Assembly,
it. They can't
stop it. Anyway, thank you very much. It's a bad night for the Democratic Party and the president.